Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope everybody is doing great and is having a great day, weekend, afternoon, Sunday, wherever you are, you might be listening to this. So all the markets are moving sideways, which is interesting once again because we are used to a market that is full of volatility and price jumps and all this other stuff. But it seems that everything is moving sideways. So it seems that the top 7 or 8 coins, and I mean that on CoinMarketCap, that is to say the top 8 coins on the list seem to literally all just be moving sideways. I think at one point Ethereum was below 200 and I think it's around 4% up, but even when you look at the chart of that, everything is just gliding sideways. All the other coins are between 0 and 1% down or up. So there doesn't seem to be major fluctuations today, and I don't know if the markets have just kind of cooled down in anticipation for August 1st or if everyone is kind of just outside enjoying the weather. But it's very, very interesting because I think this is going to be a major shakeup because of all the stuff that's been going on. You guys have heard me talk about it. This isn't brand new news. So yeah, anyway, something very interesting that's going on that I mentioned a couple of videos ago. I was telling you guys all the exchanges and stuff like that and all the wallets that would be implementing and accepting Bitcoin Cash. And I told you before that Coinbase was one of those who said that they would not be doing it. And this seems to be a direct result of them not doing it. So obviously, like I said in the other video as well, I said there's like a huge sell-off. This was when the price was really going down and stuff like that. And I said, I don't understand why everyone's selling their Bitcoin, because the more Bitcoin you have, the more Bitcoin Cash that you'll get. And then the prices started going back up, which I'm sure the news spread like wildfire from all the other videos that everyone else is making and all the other articles. So a lot of people, since Coinbase has said that they are not going to offer Bitcoin Cash, tons of people have been taking their Bitcoin off of Coinbase. Big surprise. And it's because of this that they've been having major delays. I don't know what the exact deal with Coinbase is. I mean, I use them. I don't use them heavily. Like I have stuff there, but I don't use them on like a day-to-day basis. It seems that people are having to wait over 12 hours for their Bitcoin transactions to go through, and it's leading a lot of people to believe or think this is what other exchanges do, and this is what happens with a lot of banks. So what ends up happening is that they don't expect a huge buyout or sell off at one given time. The same exact thing with banks. I don't know if you guys remember around the 2008-2009 crisis, there was a really big thing where people were going to the banks and like lining up outside and trying to get their money. And these banks were calling the cops on these people, and they were saying, no, you can't have your money. So this led a lot of people to believe and then eventually find out that banks actually don't carry all that much money. Everything that's pretty much there are zeros and ones that are on the screen. And so there actually isn't as much money inside of banks as people think. This is why they were shutting the banks down and telling people, no, you cannot have your money. And this is kind of what people are speculating could be happening with Coinbase as well. They said that they have a major backup in the system because so many people are trying to transfer their Bitcoin to other platforms. But I have, as long as I've been using them, I've had a couple of instances where I was trying to buy when dips happened, because, you know, when the price goes down, you try to get it at a good price. And the next day when I checked, you know, like you expect to, I think you get an email after you've done something. I, you know, checked in the morning and it said, oh, your sale didn't go through, and you check it and it says like, oh, try again. But at that point, the price has already gone back up. So it seems, I don't know, it seems like they spent a lot of time trying to become regulated and to become something that is, you know, legal in New York, which I mean they had to do in order to become the big company that they are now. This is why so many people, I think they recorded like 100,000 new users or something like that recently. So this is, you know, they had to do this in order to become big, but it seems like they spent more time being regulated than actually making a working platform. And it's not too good if people are trying to take their money or their Bitcoin out of your system and you're like, oh, can you guys just wait half a day? It leads to, you know, unwanted speculation, especially because this has happened so many times to them. I think there was once when Ethereum went from around when it was nearing 400 and it, you know, crashed down to around, I think 180, something like that. There were tons of people who were like, okay, this is a great time to buy. I was reading it on forums and everybody was like, now's the time to try and get some. And lo and behold, guess where you couldn't buy it from? Coinbase. I hope they get it together because I actually like their platform. I like that they're regulated. This is like one of the reasons why I said why I use them. But they really got to get it together if they want to continue being at the top, because eventually people will take notice, even the people like me who, you know, don't mind dealing with them. The moment another company comes along and they're like, the problems that they made, we won't have the same exact problems. They're going to be like, okay, yes, I'm moving all my funds over there, because it's just kind of, nobody wants to worry about having money in an online exchange that you literally don't have control of anyway, because it is on a website. And then to have stuff like this happening. Sorry to have like a gigantic segue, but they've been doing this for a while now, and they need to really kind of get it together. So a very interesting article earlier on Cointelegraph, excuse me, which is where I get a lot of my graphics from, if you haven't noticed at the beginning of my videos, or the ones that you see. And they had a recent study, or they have news about a recent study that shows that 20-year-olds don't mind investing in cryptocurrencies despite the risks. And I thought this was incredibly relevant to my life and to just everything that I kind of like talk about and do. They said that young people tend to have a higher risk of tolerance, because the entire mindset is that when we are young, we don't really care about doing things. This is why you see people online, they have these videos of them skateboarding and crashing into walls and people getting piercings and all this other stuff. But by the time you're around like 45, maybe 50, you're like, I have kids, I have a family, I can't do this stuff, I can't go jumping off of, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But when people are young, they don't mind. So this seems to translate almost directly into how people invest. And it was a huge part of how I got into investing. Around the time I was around 20 or 21, I couldn't have told you what investing even was. Like if you had told me, I would have made up something and tried to walk away awkwardly. But I had a friend, or like a really good friend of mine, he told me when I was young, especially, he said, you know, any money that you might have left over, use this to start investing. And it was one of the things around 2012, 2013 that I started getting into cryptocurrencies, because people told me they were volatile. I had seen that the price of that Bitcoin had gone from, you know, 0 to 1,200 and then back down to around 600, 700, whatever. But in my mind, none of that mattered to me. All I saw was that there was money to be made. And this is why so many people are making so much money in these things. I've seen a lot of other people give web seminars and other not TED Talks, but you guys know what I'm talking about, like things just online of people talking about, like young people talking about how they got into cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, and how they became millionaires, and you know, I'm worth $500,000 and I'm worth so and so and so. I think it's extremely interesting, and I told this to a lot of other people, a lot of friends as well, who are around my age or who are younger, or even like slightly older. As long anything extra that you make, I'm very big on what's the word? I don't spend a lot. People call me cheap. I call myself frugal. Anything extra that I make sure to invest it, because there's literally no reason to. I'm not gonna go out and party with friends and do all this other stuff and spend all this extra money on clothes that I don't need, and I don't buy a new car, and I don't buy all this other stuff, because to me it's almost completely pointless. The entire point of me investing is to accumulate more money from my investments that I can then push into other things, because I want to reach a point where I'm able to, you know, call my mother and be like, hey, let's go to the Bahamas. Hey, let's go here. Let's do so and so. This is why I do everything that I do. I am extremely focused, and I hope that everyone else is as well. I know it may seem a bit difficult sometimes when it comes to investing, because you want to have fun, you want to do all these other things. But I told myself, I said, you know, you may suffer, quote unquote, for a couple of years. You know, I can't buy the things that I want, you know. I have friends who buy 100-inch TVs, and they buy new cars, and they buy all this other new stuff. And I'm like, that's great. It's cool that you can do that. But there's nothing in my life that says, no, not at this point. I do not want that, because I want to be able to buy a beach house. And those are the things that I want. So yeah, this is why I thought this article was very interesting, because it was something that my friend told me years and years ago. And it's still completely relevant today. If you are young, or even if you are a bit older, anything extra that you have, don't be afraid to invest it, especially if you have a job or something like that. You know, any extra income, push it into some sort of investment. And like I always say, make sure to do your own research, because you just got to do your own research. You got to know what you're putting your money into. But yeah, the money is out there. There's millionaires being made every single day, and there's a reason for that. Like the money is out there. You kind of got to follow it. And lastly, an Ireland-based platform, they might be a startup, I'm not 100% sure, called Bitcart, BITCART. No affiliation. I don't know the people who made it. I'm not being paid by them in any way, shape, or form. They have created a wristband, which is actually really interesting, that allows people to pay completely in the cryptocurrency Dash, which is actually really, really cool, because I've mentioned this many other times before. the coins that will make it are things that come up with, you know, innovative things like this. It's the one that kind of think outside of the box. Bitcoin has been around for so long, and I don't know the development team. I don't know the people who are making it. I've only seen a couple videos or like interviews with the other like the people who are actively developing it. And yeah, I don't want to say that Bitcoin is slowly fading out, but there's so much news about Dash, IOTA, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and now Bitcoin Cash, and it's like you can't stay where you are forever. You have to try and figure this out. This is why August 1st is happening. This is why we're getting Bitcoin Cash. You know, right out the gate, you're 8 times quicker than the original Bitcoin, who will just only slightly double their speed. Right. Yeah. Continuing on. Sorry to segue. It's just I want August 1st to be done already. So the entire point of the wristband is the wristband is called Festy, F-E-S-T-Y, and I think they're trying it out at like music festivals and other like festivals where other people can go, where they need to like make transactions quickly if they're buying beer, if they're buying tickets, whatever the case might be. And apparently all of it, so you don't put the money onto the wristband, which is excellent, because if someone robs you and takes your wristband off, then you kind of lost everything. It links directly to your Dash account that may be on your computer, on an online exchange, whatever the case might be, and the transactions happen within seconds. So they've been trying this out at these events and stuff like that, trying to get people to really use them, and apparently it works really, really well. It apparently also works anywhere where Visa contactless. I had never even heard of this thing before, something called Visa contactless. I assume that's the thing where people tap their cards onto the machine. I've been going to the supermarket recently, and a lot of people have been walking up to like pay, and I'm expecting them to swipe, or like certain machines will have you like put your card inside while you put your PIN, and they tap it and kind of walk out the store. So I'm assuming that is what the contactless is about. Yeah. I think, guys, we are at the point where we at the calm before the storm, because we only have a day or two for Bitcoin Cash to drop and for everything to kind of go insane. If the markets remain calm, I don't know what to say. Like, I was going to say I apologize, but I didn't really predict anything. But I assume everything is going to kind of go crazy. So watch out on August 1st as well with your Bitcoin transactions. There are a lot of exchanges online that are completely halting for like 24 hours. They're like, we're not going to deal with anything that's going to happen, because I think it might be a major shakeup. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen within the next coming months when people realize what Bitcoin Cash is, and so many people who have sold them off trying to dump the coin and crash the price see exactly what's going on with it, because I think we are in for a lot of surprises. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoy wherever you are. Enjoy the weather. It's finally gotten a little nicer here. We went from almost like freezing temperatures, and now it's blazing hot, and it's just a lot of not niceness. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll talk to you all later, and I hope you have a great day. See you.